All right, so we're back, and Jeff, this is the final countdown. We've gone through a bunch of stuff. We didn't do pool C and D, but we're gonna have to do a crash course on that and make our final predictions of what we think is gonna happen. All the rosters are basically set. Are there any last minute surprises we should be looking out for? Is everything in the clear now?
I think I know Colombia, their Jorge Alfaro doesn't have his visa yet, so they might have to make a last minute change to their roster, and with the rosters are still somehow fluid, so there's teams that could still lose people, but I think for the most part they're pretty set.
Yeah, it's definitely been a complicated process. There's a couple things I learned at Tigers camp you'd probably be interested in hearing. Riley Green, you were 100% correct. He had no interest in playing for Puerto Rico at all. Like I spoke to him about it, he just wasn't really about it. He said he would have did it if USA came calling, but like you said, he doesn't really embrace his Puerto Rican culture, unfortunately. So he wasn't really interested there.
Yeah, yeah, not surprised.
You were right. And then Jemai Jones is, on the other hand, Jemai Jones is very excited to play for Korea because his mother was actually born over there. Like, so that's like way different, and he's very into the idea of playing for Korea. So, he said that he used to take trips there. I think he really likes the food or something. So, like, I did do a piece on him. I think it'll be interesting to see what he does. But, um, speaking of that, Korea is in Pool C, so let's segue there, I guess. We could take a look at their roster and what we think. We know Japan's still the top of the class despite not having as strong a roster as they normally would. But do you think Korea is the second best team in the group? Because I'm probably leaning in that direction right now. But we know
Um,
last year it got weird with Australia getting through it or the last edition or whatever.
I don't think Korea is the second best team. I think Taiwan is the second best team by a pretty comfortable margin. I think they lost Jonathan Long, which hurts, but I think their rotation and bullpen is just so much deeper than anyone else in the pool except for Japan. It's like there. I mean, you could probably take three or four, maybe even five starters for them that would make the top three of Korea's rotation. So
Interesting.
yeah, I think Korea has one of the worst pitching staffs in the entire tournament. They just don't have much there. They're a very like offensive driven team, and even their defense has a lot of question marks. So they're gonna have to basically mash their way to get through the pool, and I think that's like a so last time that didn't really work for them because Australia beat them by you know a couple 3-run homers, and I think they're like they're leaning on I guess Ryu is going to be their ace,
Yeah,
like
I'm about to pull it up right now. I was just looking through it.
and it
Shit,
I
hold
mean
on.
that's
Yeah, I thought their offense was really good. That's why I kind of leaned towards them. I was looking over the roster, which I guess it is, but like the pitching could be a problem. I'll stick with it for fun, but like you probably are right. But I'll still stick with them as my second team coming out of the pool.
I think Taiwan just has a more complete team. Like How You Lee, I think this is going to be a good chance for him to kind of have like a coming out party on like kind of a global audience.
Okay,
Because he was like a probably was like a fringe MLB player for Detroit, but he ultimately chose to play for his country. And I think he had said before spring training about whether or not they were going to let him go. And he said they have to let me go. So I don't think he even considered staying in spring training. So there, yeah, so that'll be a good experience for him. Jonathan Long injury definitely hurts because the offense doesn't quite have the same depth. But if they get the 2023 version of Yu Chang and you have Hao Yu Lee kind of giving protection in the lineup and Stuart Fairchild, you don't know what you're going to get. Probably defense, not a whole lot with the bat, but
yeah, I know him. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a familiar name.
you're not really sure what you're going to get in that environment. But I think I think for them, if they get Lin Han, I mean Anko Lin should say, if he kind of he's going to play with Cebu this season. If they get him going along with Yu Chang and Hao Yu Lee, I think they have a chance to not only be second. I think they can put a scare into Japan in the opener.
So you think Taipei is that good that they could put
Yeah,
a scare into Japan? Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
I think so. They
Wow.
beat
All
Japan at
right.
the Premier 12, and they have a
Interesting.
lot of arms, especially left-handed arms. Because I think with Japan, you got you got Kondo and Otani, from the left side, and Seiya Suzuki.
Murakami too.
Yeah, Murakami and Seiya Suzuki and Akamoto are like the two big right-handed bats.
Yeah.
But I think if you can neutralize all the lefties, I think you got a chance. So I think someone like Wei Lin, the athletics prospect, is someone I could see coming maybe out of the pen in that game.
Is
So
that the two-way guy?
no, no, no. That's just
Oh, my
he's
bad.
he's yeah he's just the uh, he's a starter slash long reliever, but
Okay, got you.
he's like a top 6 or 7 prospect for the A's right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I really like Korea's offense, so I think they have a
Yeah,
bunch of good
I
pieces
think
here. But like you
I
said, the
think
pitching might be an issue.
it's the offense. I think clearly the second best offense in the pool behind Japan, but I think the defense losing Ha-Sung Kim, I think, is a big loss defensively because he's the best defender, and
Yeah,
Young Hoo Lee starting in center field, and he was rough defensively last year. So I think defense could be something that could come back to haunt them, and then I just throughout the rotation, I'm just like you're kind of cobbling together a rotation because one of the few some of the few like actual like decent KBO starters are missing with injury. So I think it's basically kind of a toss up. But I tend to like in these tournaments, offenses are usually not quite up to speed at the beginning of full play. So I look for the
yeah.
a lot of the teams who rely on pitching are to kind of get them through.
Yeah, so I'll put up Taipei's roster too because I definitely want to get a better look at that since you're saying they'll be the second best in the group. Like, and then we'll go through our Czech Republic and Australia rankings. So like before we get to them, like I'll just ask you the curiosity, like how do you rank Korea among Czech Republic and like Australia? Like where do you
I
go in the
think
3 to 5 range?
clear fifth place team. I think Australia and Korea is interesting because they have a lot of the same weaknesses. Like Australia doesn't have a deep pitching staff, but one of the starters they do have in Lachlan Wells pitched in the KBO and had some
That's
success
right, I know
last
him.
year. So that could be he could I would imagine they would have him pitch against Korea because he has a little more familiarity with some of the players on Korea's roster and so I think I would say Australia's starting rotation I'd have slightly ahead of Korea, but it's basically a push. And I think
I see what you mean.
yeah, offensively I'd give the nod to Korea, but Travis Bazana is probably the most talented
Love
player.
Bazana.
Yeah, most talented player between those two teams. So if he has a huge tournament, that could swing it in
Yeah.
Australia's favor. So I think it's very close, but I mean, I've kind of waffled on this. I think I make Michael Korea ever so slightly, but it's basically, you know, you can't go wrong with either of them. But I think they just don't have the pitching. Like when they get in a matchup with Japan or Taiwan, it's can you get a guy that can come in and throw 3 or 4 innings and give you and only allow 1 or 2 runs? I'm not sure either of those teams really have a guy like that when you're in a matchup against those two teams. So that's kind of why I have them a little bit below Taiwan and Japan in the pecking order.
Yeah, so here's Taiwan's roster if you want to make more points to it. And like I know you went through a lot of it, but I wanted everyone to see it on the screen so they can get a better visual here. Shout out to Sean's Brown, he does great work too. He put all these together, so better than like the sites and how they do it sometimes. So I'm just going on his page, like looking at these one by one, because I know he's keeping it updated just like you are. So this is the situation here. I definitely can see what you're saying. The depth looks a lot better with the arms for Taiwan. Yeah, Fairchild is kind of like just a defense first guy. I think, like you were kind of talking about. I know I've heard Chen Wing Chain has been good. I've seen his name out there before. And like this bullpen, like you said, that A's prospect will be good. And then who was that guy in the Tigers that you were talking about before?
How you leave? He's going to be, I believe, he should be their starting third baseman.
Yeah, I see him there. He's at third base. Yep, I think that's correct. Although they have him at second on his graphic, but I'm sure he could play either one.
Yeah,
I heard about him when I was down there, but I didn't really see him too much. So That's definitely a cool
Like he,
situation. I know there was a guy in the Tigers, an Asian pitcher, who was like out of the league for a while. Who, not Drew Anderson, like someone who was like maybe Chinese or Japanese, and like they were on the mound when Max Clark was going through it. So someone's like, "Oh, what about this pitcher that hasn't been in the bigs in this long?" And Max Clark's like doing all this. Like, I have to check to see what I was talking about there.
I think I think some of the intriguing pitchers for Taiwan aren't even guys necessarily that pitch in the MLB system.
Yeah,
I think like Joe Hisey Shu is gonna be he might be their ace, and he is a guy who can run it up there, 98 at times, and he's I know the Phillies and Dodgers tried to sign him, but he ended up signing with the SoftBank Hawks. And Rui Yang Gulin, who pitches for the Fighters in MPB, he's got one of the most underrated fastballs in MPB. He gets a lot of movement and he gets a lot of swing and miss, even though he doesn't throw 97, 98. So I mean, those are. I think it's just they have so much depth and on the pitching staff, and it's I kind of tend to favor teams who go heavy, who are just heavy pitching, because we've seen in the past, you look at someone like Team USA, they always seemingly start slow, uh, when with hitters, and if teams like Korea and Japan are like already kind of getting warmed up, they're still in spring training mode. They're not quite, you know, don't got timing down as much as they would like. So I think if you have a really deep pitching staff, especially righty lefties too, if you have kind of a lot of matchup advantages, I think it's conducive to success in a tournament, because like you look at Mexico last time, Mexico's offense, other than the U.S. game in pool play, didn't do a whole lot, but
that's a good point.
their pitching was good every single game. So they were in it every single game, and so when eventually the offense got going, they started being able to kind of come out with a little bigger wins like they did against Canada. But that was a close game for a while. But the pitching was there game after game after game. So if you have pitching, you got a chance. If you don't have pitching, it it's dicey at best.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. Like, it's definitely an interesting situation going through all that stuff, and I have taken a look at some stuff. That guy Lee is was a non-invitee for the Tigers in spring training. So, like we said, so yeah, the pitching points are good. And speaking of that, you just did jog my memory a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to make an audible once we do our final predictions from pool. We're gonna make a nice switch for Pool B. We're gonna take Mexico out. We're gonna put Italy in because of the recent additions with Mexico losing all this pitching. Like I don't feel too great about their chances anymore, despite having a nice home field by Houston.
They're probably down like seven of their top nine pitchers in
Yeah, that's a problem.
starters. Yeah, like it's like I know, and I'm very curious how Benji Gill is doing the setup, because he's got his two best pitchers pitching arguably the two least consequential games. So I'm not really sure I get that, because yeah, you need them for the quarterfinals or the semifinals, but you got to get to the quarterfinals first. And
That's a good
and,
point.
and if you're like Taiwan Walker and Javier Assad are guys you want for the United States, or or Italy, preferably more so Italy, because I think they kind of even know like it's gonna be a tall task to beat the U.S. this year, because they just the
Yeah.
U.S. is just crazy stacked, and potentially Paul Skeens starting that game for the U.S. So I think it's asking a lot to win that game, but also like Great Britain and Brazil, you don't necessarily need your top two guys to win those games.
Yeah, I have wondered about some of the strategy here, like with certain stuff like that, like how these pitchers are going in certain situations. Like for Puerto Rico, even, I mean, Elmer Rodriguez, maybe want to give him a soft landing spot with Cuba, I guess, although I think he can handle almost any lineup in that pool. Probably the Colombia and Panama will be tougher in Canada, but like I don't know. I mean, they probably want to keep him some of his routine stuff too. Is it about keeping Walker and Hassan of their scheduled routines, maybe that the teams don't want them to switch off of? But I do agree that they should probably be pitching at least one of them against Italy. I would say if you want to punt
Yeah,
the U.S. game, punt the U.S. game. But like the Italy game is huge.
yeah, yeah. I haven't really paid too much attention to too many of the guys' schedules because I know like I know like Paul Skeen's kind of like his schedule because they made a whole thing about it. But I but I haven't been paying attention too much. But I feel like that's something like you coordinate with the team and they just adjust his schedule in camp. Like because I think they're not going to want him pitching necessarily on 4 days or 5 days rest. Like they probably are wanting him to ease more into it, so they would be okay if he had like 6 days or whatever.
Yeah,
But I think but I think that's something you just got to coordinate with the team because they knew going into the tournament, like Italy was the team they had to beat. Like I feel like
yeah. So like, it is surprising. Maybe they'll change it last minute. I mean, because it really, who are they pitching against Italy as of now? Like, do they have that out there, or is it just to
they
be
have
teased?
not they have not said anything on who's starting those games. They haven't. They only listed the first two starters. I guess
Which is
maybe
odd. Yeah.
maybe Brennan Bernardino, maybe, but he's more of a reliever. He's not necessarily a
Yeah, I was
starter.
gonna say, would they bullpen the game against Italy and hope they get lucky? Like it seems like maybe they'll try something like that. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think they'll probably have to, but I think with kind of the format though, in team restrictions, it's like you can't really like run through
Like, would
necessarily.
they let Munoz pitch 2 innings? That's a good question. Would
I
they let him throw two in a
I
situation like
honestly
that?
doubt it.
Probably
I would
not,
be
right?
very surprised because I'm Matt Brash for Canada in 2023 was with the Mariners, and they only said he could throw 1 inning. So I would be surprised Andres Munoz would be given the green light to throw
Yeah,
2 innings.
probably not. Yeah, I mean that would be a way for him to win the game, though, obviously, because he's their best pitcher overall. But that's going to be a tough sell for the Mariners to let him throw 2 innings,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think they could see like against. I wouldn't be surprised if against like the U.S. they just throw Alexander Armenta, knowing they're probably not going to win the
Yeah,
game.
they might just punt it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
possible.
and just tell him basically, you got 65 pitches, like just try and get through four or
Yeah,
five.
they'll just try to use like their least arms, basically, that they don't need, like in a big
Yeah,
spot, just to like if the U.S. mercies them, they mercy them and they move
yeah.
on. Like,
I think it's disappointing though that Todd Bradley like waited until the last minute basically to pull out.
yeah, that is they kind of needed him too. Is Bailey O'Bear out of it too, or is he still in the mix? I think O'Bear is he in there, or did he pull out as well? I thought he might have. I have to double check.
For who?
Bailey O'Bear, he was gonna be in it. Remember
For
Mexico? I thought wasn't he?
no, I don't.
No.
I think I think the only I'm trying to think of the players that.
Cody Ponce, they tried to get, they couldn't get him. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I I
He
thought Bailey
said he
O'Bear was
went.
gonna be in it though. I have to double check. Maybe I'm off, but I saw something with him.
Um,
I gotta look. Let me
I
search it really
know
quick.
like they had gotten commitments from Cody Ponce. They'd gotten it from Aaron Sanchez. They
Oh yeah, they lost Sanchez. That's right. He was another one because he signed with the team. That's why they didn't expect him
yeah
to
yeah
sign with the
yeah.
team.
So
Maybe I
it's
was off on O'Bear. I think he is. I gotta check where I saw that, but like,
I
I'll
think
look.
it's kind of a thing where like I that's why like I originally picked Italy because I like you'd already seen the casualties kind of with Mexico and I'm like I don't know if they can do this and then it just got worse.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. So
I
yeah,
I,
it's
I
definitely a
think
good point.
it's really I think just the casualties kind of illustrate a bigger problem with the tournament, which is like players being asked to choose between their national team and like their you know ability to make a roster, and it's like all these teams have suffered losses. Like the only ones who don't have to worry about that is like a Japan or a US or Dominican Republic. Like they don't have to
Yeah,
rely.
no, my bad about the O'Bear thing. I guess I just missaw something. Maybe I got it crossed up with Bradley because like, he was a twin or something. I don't know. I thought, but anyway. So like, yeah, something I wanted to talk to you about too is the Olympics thing. So like, could you try to walk me through this? Like, how does the qualification work for the Olympics with the WBC? Like, how
Okay,
far do the teams have to get to qualify?
only teams this affects is teams from the Americas. So Asia, Europe, Oceania, they don't factor
Okay.
into a qualification at WBC. That I don't understand why they're doing it this way. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I'm
But
confused as well.
it's the top two non-finishers, top two non-USA finishers are
Okay,
qualifying from the Americas. So,
I see what
so,
you mean.
so like if the U.S. makes the final against like Japan, then it's it would be the two teams from the Americas that, let's say, made the semifinals that make
Okay,
it. But what they don't if there is it's the Dominican Republic Venezuela game. It likely the winner of that game is probably going to qualify if they don't get upset in the quarterfinals. Pretty much.
I see what you mean. So that would be one qualification, and like the other one would be up for grabs in essence, unless they both make the semis.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's only if the U.S. doesn't make the semifinals, and there's three teams from the Americas that make the semifinals, and let's say two of them lose, then they're going to decide it on a tiebreaker.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I like. They didn't think that through at all.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say, how would you do that? That was my question. You already answered it. I'm like, what if they like don't? What if they make it at the same level if they both lose
yeah,
in the quarters or something?
I think about like if like let's just say some random thing like Dominican Republic, like U.S. gets upset in the quarterfinals. Dominican Republic makes the final, they're in it, right?
Yeah,
They
that's
play
that.
Japan,
Yeah.
but let's say that like it's like Puerto Rico, it gets one of them, and then like it's like Puerto Rico or Mexico are like two of the other ones, right? They don't play each other, and they don't play each other in like the knockout rounds, and they also don't play each other in group play. How do you decide who goes over? One,
I don't
who
know.
goes in? They're just going to do tiebreaker, and I'd say if they do total quality balance to decide who qualifies for the Olympics, I feel like there's gonna like federations and managers are going to lose their shit.
Yeah, you have to hope it doesn't come down to the tiebreaker, but knowing the luck of baseball, probably will come down
This
to
is
the
why
tiebreaker somehow,
they
and
should
people
have
are
a
going to be up in
third
arms
place game
about
for
it.
something like this. Like no one wants to play a third place game, but if it's an Olympic berth on the line, they'll try hard.
Do you think they would make it if it was for that? That'd be great. They don't have it scheduled though. I wouldn't mind it,
They
but
won't.
like,
They won't add it. They'll just leave it, and they'll just do what they normally do. Just throw their hands up and be like, "Whoa, what do you want us to do?"
yeah, that would be crazy if that's what comes down. So basically, Mexico, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic are the four teams to watch with that, and I guess
Uh,
Panama,
Canada and
Canada,
yeah, Canada's in there, and
Panama, and Colombia. I don't know because that's South America. Well, Panama's Central, I think. Colombia's South.
well, they're still part of
It's
that.
still America's, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so they're still part of
those are the
America.
ones to look for, I guess. Because
And
Cuba's not going to be in it, obviously, because they've messed
I,
themselves
I
up.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, Cuba offensively has problems, but they could get two Levon Moinelo starts in pool play, so that would be that would be a big deal for them.
Yeah, and I know Desponge is playing, and he has the WBC home run record. And let's see if he could add to that. That would be interesting to see if he hits another bomb, which could be his last edition at like almost
Uh,
40 years
you
old.
hope it's his last edition.
Yeah, well, the way things are going with Alexi Ramirez trotting out there at 44 years old, I guess we can't fully rule out another
Yeah,
tour for him. But let's see. I want to see if he could pad that record. I'm gonna be watching for that in Puerto Rico. So I pulled up Australia because I was interested to see like what they have going on, and I want to go through all the rosters. So Bazana's obviously the headliner here. Curtis Mead spent some time with Tampa Bay. He was all right at certain points in times. Alexander Wells, like you mentioned, and Lachlan Wells. Jacko Long, I've heard before. I think he's a very good ABL pitcher, if I'm not mistaken. He may have also pitched in the draft league, I want to say. So there's definitely some names here. Like, I guess it'll be interesting to see if they can cause some upsets. I know last time they did make it to the quarterfinals somehow, so
yeah,
I doubt it'll happen again, but I guess you never know, right?
yeah. I think for them, someone like Blake Townsend, he's like the very atypical pitcher of this era. He throws 87, 88, but he's had a ton of success in the minors, but he's not really giving a serious look by major league teams because he doesn't throw hard. So it's he's somebody who he was rocking like as a starter like in an ERA in the ones in Double A for a while. So I think he's going to be kind of an X factor for Australia's team because they need a little they need someone who can kind of get outs and can throw 3 or 4 innings. So he's someone that I look forward to being able to kind of do something like that. And then I think Jared Dale, really interesting player. He's probably like the biggest X factor on the team offensively because Bazan is going to do his thing. Curtis Mead has experience. He's with the White Sox now, and Robbie Glendening has played in Mexico and in Double A. He had a clutch home run for them against Korea last time. But Jared Dale's probably the best overall defender. He's he was in the Japanese minors last year. Wasn't that far away from getting called up, honestly. And he's going to be in the KBO this year, and he's really come on as a hitter after struggling in the minors. So he's going to be a player to watch. I think off in the outfield, it's a little dicey for them because they just Max Durrington kind of struggled in single A with the A's, and Tim Kennelly is this is his last Australia his last time playing for the national team. Aaron Whitefield isn't he's a defense and speed guy, but not much with the bat. Same with like Ulrich Boyarski. He's not really going to do a whole lot offensively. So it's going to be a lot of guys in the infield that are going to carry the load offensively.
Yeah, that definitely seems fair. I would say a fourth place finish is probably a safe estimate, maybe third if they can juggle up Korea. If you because that's how you were looking at it. I would say probably four for them, and then I'd put. I'm still gonna stick with Korea, despite what you told me against better judgment. I'm gonna try to get an upset pick in there, South Korea. But like, I'm gonna put Taipei third, and then I'll do Czech five, and I'll do Australia four, Japan one. So here's the Czech team. You know, a guy I was hoping would play with this is Philip Sirota, who was at Linwood, who I did an interview with, but they didn't end up putting him in it. I don't know, like if they tried or what happened with that. But like, I thought that would have been cool to see him get in there. I'm
Yeah,
sure he would have helped.
they had a few minor leaguers and guys with major league experience that wanted to play, but they basically had teams like they were teams that just were absolutely pushing the players to decline.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, yeah. I think they had a Astros AAA pitcher. Can't remember his name right now,
Oh,
but
Sorota's still playing in college. That's probably why he can't do it. I'm
yeah,
assuming he's in his fifth year, probably trying to get drafted.
yeah. Philip Sirota with are you
Linwood.
talking? Yeah, he's Polish. He's not Czech.
Oh, I thought he could have had eligibility to play for
Oh, he
Czech.
might. I mean, he might.
Because he
But I,
talked about wanting to play in the WBC when I spoke with him, but like Poland doesn't have a WBC team, I don't think. That's why I
yeah.
thought maybe there
I
could have
know
been something there, but like I don't know. You might,
he's from Warsaw, Poland.
yeah, you're
So,
right. I don't, maybe he couldn't have played for them then. I have
but
to
maybe
check to see if he
he
has
could have.
eligibility.
He could have. His mom could have been Czech because I
I
mean,
gotta look
he,
because he told me
he,
he played in the league. Like he
he
said he
played
played in the
he
Czech. It
played
doesn't mean
in the
he
Czech
is Czech
Republic.
though. Yeah, it doesn't mean he is right.
Yeah. But I mean, I think if he is Czech, he's probably more likely to play in there because it's easier for him to. The language barrier wouldn't be a huge issue if he actually can speak Czech. So
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would imagine he wouldn't have said anything about the WBC unless he could play in this edition. Because
Yeah, because we spoke about it, and I don't know, like, because Poland doesn't have a team, obviously.
yeah,
I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to read it right now. They said he's Warsaw Poland. No mention of Czech heritage, nationality, or ties. Oh yeah, maybe he was saying a Poland made it or something, but like I don't know how they would,
I, I,
unfortunately. But okay.
I think is he probably had something to do with Czech Republic. But you look at like Adam Mako had said he wanted to play for the Czech Republic, but the Blue Jays wouldn't let him. They only let
Oh
him play for
okay.
Canada.
That's interesting. Why?
I don't know. They're just doing a favor because it's like
Their
they are.
thing, I guess, like the Canada tie. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
That's a
guess
little bit
so.
odd to me.
Right, and then they had I know they had a major league outfielder used to play for the Rockies. I'm trying to remember his name right now, but that wanted to play and it was committed to play for Czechia, but he wasn't allowed to play.
I think I know. I'm trying to think who it is. Like, was he a triple A guy, like a 4A guy?
Well,
Like,
he's played in the major leagues a lot.
I'm
Like
trying.
he's been a guy who's been a starter.
Not
Like
Mike Talkman, right?
no, it's not Mike Talkman. It's a I'm trying to remember his name right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of Rockies outfielders that have been miscellaneous, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Let me try.
he
I
played
could
for the
try to look
Rockies.
really quick.
He
Rockies
played for the
outfields are
Rockies and he played for the Diamondbacks.
check. Let me see if anything comes up. Randall Grichuk.
Yes, that's him.
Yes, and he's on the Yankees now. They just signed him.
Yeah.
I
Randall
didn't
Grichuk.
realize Grichuk wants to play, but I think I may have heard something about it quickly now that you mention it.
Yeah. He said half of his family is Czech, so he wanted to play for Czechia, but he wasn't allowed to for whatever reason.
But why would they? He was a free agent. They actually should have let him. I don't know why he would even be denied. He didn't even have a team at that point.
I think it might have been the fact that he didn't have a team.
Maybe his
Maybe that
agents
was.
didn't want him to do it.
Yeah, I think I couldn't see the Yankees saying no
Yeah,
to
because they
him.
let so many guys go, but they literally just signed him, so it wasn't that. Like it
Yeah,
literally just
so it
happened,
could
so
have just
it
been
wasn't that.
he was a free agent and wanted a contract first, but it's it's like he would have been a huge addition
Oh
to
yeah, that
that
would
team.
he would have been their best hitter probably. I'm sure.
I think look at like Czechia's team. They could have been so much better than they were, but it's funny because I for them like Martin Cervenka is like he's basically their Barry Bonds.
Yeah,
Like
no, I know who he is. He's really
he's
good.
got he's got to
I
be
know
the
who he
top home
is.
run hitter. He's got to be their top on base guy, average guy. He's got to be the best defender behind the plate. And like if he doesn't play great, they have
They're
no.
done. They're done. Yeah, he has
Yeah.
to do it all
But
basically.
I think it's like at the European Championship, he hit 4 home runs. The rest of the team hit one combined. So it's they need him to absolutely go off for them.
All right, so we'll go to Japan. Do you think there's any shot they don't make it out of the group? But you think they'll at
I
least get
think
make it out
I
of the
think
group, right?
if Japan doesn't make it out of their group, I think the entire team got food poisoning and missed the game because there's absolutely no chance that they don't make it out because, like, it's they got the best pitching staff, they got the best offense, they got the best, relief core. You know, I think some of their roster decisions leave a lot to be
Like
desired.
say in center field, for
Like,
instance, we could
you know,
probably start there.
hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's been practicing. He was in spring training playing center field.
I saw
So that,
that. It didn't look
so
too
that
good
leads
with
me to think that's what he's
Murakami
going to
ball.
do.
Yeah.
But why would you like? He's already a shaky defender in right field, so you think it's going to get better in center field?
No,
Like he's not a
they're
supreme
just. I
athlete.
think they're just chasing offense, I guess, which they don't need to do. They should just let that
Yeah,
guy play. You were talking about the light hitting
yeah.
center
Teraki
fielder.
Sato is he's like dude hit 40 jacks in Japan last year, and we know how difficult it is with the balls to get 40 bombs in Japan right now. And you look at like Shota Morishita is probably their best overall defender in the outfield, and he's on the bench. And I'm like, it's just some of these decisions. It's like he has the manager Ibara has a bit of an MLB fetish. I don't know if it's because he didn't play and he wished he could have played in MLB or something, but he thinks all the MLB guys have to be in the lineup. But it's like just because you're in MLB doesn't mean you're good. Like, um, we've mentioned guys who have played like that are like Fairchild that's playing for Taiwan. Just because you're in MLB doesn't mean you're better than
Yeah,
others, right?
exactly, bro. Like, I think they probably should have went with Shudo in center. I think that's the guy you were saying was the light hitting center fielder that could play it well.
He's for me. I would not have started him. I would not start a Shudo because he's a speed guy and defense guy. But with the bat, I think he is going to get crushed by MLB level
So
pitching.
you would have went with Morishita in center
I
then? Is
would have
that what
went
you would have did?
Yoshida in center field, Seiya Suzuki in right field, and then Sato in left field.
Interesting. Why did they play Kuna then? You think they like his offense?
I think they're putting Kondo.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Kondo. Yeah, I probably
Yeah,
said that
right
wrong. My
field or left
bad.
field, which one? But he's one of the best hitters in Japan, but he's also had quite a few back injuries. He missed a lot of time last year, and he's like physically, his I don't know if he can hold like is going to hold up
I see
playing in
what
the
you mean.
outfield anymore. I think he's more of a DH guy, but unfortunately, Shohei's the DH. Like you're not taking Shohei out of the lineup.
No,
So
you're not. I mean,
so
they're not going to let him play the outfield, the Dodgers.
so
So,
I think it's
are you surprised Shohei's not pitching?
I mean, not really. I think there's some people that say he couldn't get insurance for it. Like that doesn't matter. Like he's already on the roster. He doesn't need like he
Yeah.
don't have to be insured for that. So it's if he's insured on the team, he could pitch. But I think he's kind of like I think he's had two Tommy John surgeries. I don't think he wants to risk it personally.
Okay, yeah, it's fair. How's this guy Itch, who's gonna be the third ETO or Ito or the third starting pitcher above
Yeah,
Sugano?
yeah. I think he's the fourth actually for some
Oh, they're gonna
reason.
put him in four. Okay.
Yeah, they put Sugano at third. I don't understand this thought process, but yeah, Ito won the Sawamura Award, as which is basically Cy Young in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was best overall pitcher in Japan last year, and he doesn't throw nearly quite as hard. Like he can get 95, 96, but he's not gonna be like a Yamamoto that might be able to rush up there like 98 occasionally. So I think there's a little separation between them, but I think he's probably the second best pitcher on their team, and it's they're starting him against Czechia. I would have started him against Korea personally, but he doesn't play in MLB, I guess, so that's a knock against
Yeah,
him.
I think you think that guy's better than Kikuchi.
Yeah, I think he's better than
Interesting.
Kikuchi.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Kikuchi's pretty good, but he's not like I wouldn't say like an ace
Yeah,
type
he's not an
pitcher.
ace. Yeah,
I
that's
think he's
fair.
like I think he's like a number three really in MLB. But I think the Angels have made him look a little worse than he is
Well, of
because
course. Yeah, it's the
they don't know what the fuck
Angels.
they're doing.
Do you think that Hiramomi's gonna try to go to MLB at some point?
Um, it's hard to say. I don't think he's mentioned it too much. I think Hiroto Takahashi, who's on this roster, who pitched for them at the Premier 12, I think he's somebody that wants to pitch in MLB. But
Okay.
think I don't think Ito has said anything about it.
Interesting. I was just kind of curious. Since you say he's better than you say, it means I think he could play in the league probably.
Yeah,
So that's why I would ask.
yeah. I think it's he's more like on the level of like Imai, but I think he's better
Oh,
command.
okay, that's
Yeah,
fair. I think I understand. So I guess I'll ask you a better question. Japan obviously going to get out of the group. Yes, I kind of not surprised to hear that. Do you think they're vulnerable in the quarters or semis, more
yeah.
susceptible than they've been in the past?
I
Maybe.
think I think if I think Venezuela is a big wild card. That's a potential matchup for them. I think Venezuela is like you look like offensively. I'm taking Venezuela over Japan. I think
Yeah,
pitching is where you say Japan might have the edge.
yeah.
So you have like Yamamoto. I think he's going to probably be ready for the quarterfinals. I think that's kind of their plan because they know that quarterfinal matchup is going to be tough. So I think they're going to go with Yamamoto, but Venezuela is talking about having Jesus Luzardo available for the second round. He could
That's
come in
right.
and you could get a Yamamoto Luzardo matchup in the quarterfinals. And so
That would be crazy.
I think I give the edge, honestly, Venezuela or Dominican Republic. I say they probably have the better overall roster over Japan ever so slightly because I think Japan's pitching isn't quite what it was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
So
I kind of agree with you, to be honest.
because I think even if they win the quarterfinals, I think Japan is very vulnerable from the semis on, just because you're looking at Kikuchi maybe starting the semifinal game, and no disrespect to him, but he's not on the level of like a Shohei Otani was 3 years ago. So I think they're vulnerable and they don't have a dominant enough offense where I could just be like, oh, it doesn't matter who's going to pitch, they're going to win. Like they'll be vulnerable, but I think for them, the quarterfinal is the tough game because if they get by through the quarterfinal, they can make the final just because you're likely playing, you know, one of Mexico, Puerto Rico, Canada, Colombia in the semifinals.
Oh, okay, yeah, because like I know it goes. It's top of Pool C, which we expect Japan to be, and then it's second place Pool D, which we expect to be Venezuela or Dominican Republic, probably more towards Venezuela. So we'll talk about them first. I know their pitching's a little bit rough. I know they will get Ranger Suarez. Kadir Montero's a nice arm. He's a wild
Yeah,
card, a little hot and
he's
cold, but like
he's
he might be good for him.
he's very he had some good moments, especially in the playoffs out of the bullpen for
Yeah,
Detroit.
I like him a lot, honestly.
I think it's can you like I don't think they plan to start him. I think the Tigers want him as a reliever now. So I think they kind of have him in like a 1 or 2 inning type deal. But I like there are once you get past Ranger Suarez or I guess Ron Ayers, if I pronounce it right. Uh, once you get past him in the rotation, I think it gets pretty.
It gets really dicey once you get past Ranger Suarez in the rotation. You can just tell by looking at this piece of paper in front of us. I mean, or this graphic. I mean, Luzardo's not till round two, but if you get him in round two, then you feel good about going to the semis potentially with him on the mound. For Ranger, I mean, he's definitely the guy you want in the big game. Like you probably want to pitch him against the Dominican Republic, I would imagine.
I believe he's actually starting against the Netherlands. I don't think he's starting.
Again, they don't get another mistake. They need to pitch him against the DR if they have
Yeah,
any chance of
I
winning
think.
that game.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is if he starts against the Dominican Republic, he can't pitch before the final.
Oh, that's the issue then, I guess. Okay.
I think they're kind of weighing the pros and cons.
They should probably try Montero against the DR. Maybe he could catch him off guard for a little bit.
As far as I think the favorite to start against the Dominican Republic right now appears to be Antonio Zenzatella.
Oh, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
I'm like,
Why?
I'm like, I mean, why?
What are we doing out there? We are they trying to win the game or what? Like God, I mean, I'd rather start Erod or Montero against Sensatowa. Either one of them.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not a situation where like some guys with Coors Field where the home splits are
No, he's
like
just like
really
not.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
no.
actually worse away from
He's
Coors.
yeah. It's just like he's
Like
just like not it. Yeah, let's just
yeah,
be
I'm just like
honest. I
okay.
mean, we called the Pablo Lopez thing. He had no business being on the roster. Now he has to get Tommy John. I was
Yeah,
like, I mean,
that's a
that's upsetting.
huge
Like,
blow for them because
I didn't
Pablo
think.
Lopez that was an equalizer. Like you have Ronald Suarez and Pablo Lopez at the top of the rotation. All of a sudden, it kind of like you can use one of those guys against the Dominican
Yes,
Republic, and then you have Luzardo who comes in the second round, and then all of a sudden it kind of gives you
yeah.
kind of a
Here's
really
a good
good.
question for you. Like, do you still view Venezuela as a top four team despite their pitching issues?
Yeah, yeah, the offense is just too good. I think you have a really good number one with potential Luzardo coming in the knockout rounds, and then you have some really good relievers like Palencia at the back end of the pen, and then obviously offense you got Acuna and Churio and Eugenio Suarez
You
might
know,
start
they
again
have some.
too.
This is a good lineup. Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
very representative lineup here.
they can bop, so it's just going to be
And you have Wilson Contreras on the bench too. He's a bench option.
yeah.
He'll
I,
based off,
I
or they'll probably mix and match that a little
I
bit.
think for sure, like if it's me, I'm putting Contreras over Arias, like easily. Like I'm not really sure. Like I think
Well, yeah,
this is one of those things where I think Omar Lopez tends to have his guys and guys who played for him before. And
yeah.
yeah, look, where it's like the history doesn't matter. Like what happened 3 years ago doesn't matter. How good are they right now?
Yeah, no, I would like to see Contreras hit instead of Arise too if I had to choose, probably. I mean, unless if you just need a single or it's like a big situation you need like a hit, then you want to rise up. But like,
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
the WBC is weird though because Arias, who has never in his minor league or major league career ever hit 2 home runs in the same game, did against the U.S. in the 2023
oh
WBC.
yeah, I remember. I like how
Like,
I almost forgot about that. I didn't
yeah,
even remember he did
and it
too.
was
That
like
is
it wasn't
nuts.
like cheapies. Like it was like the second one off the foul pole. If that was like a little further to the left, that was like
Yeah.
way back in the seat. So
No,
he was
I
insane.
remember the foul pole one now that you bring it up. I have to check those clips later. I know that U.S. was in big danger against Venezuela and almost
Yeah,
lost
yeah,
that game. I do remember that for sure.
that was a
Um,
tank.
I
Like
can't
if I
forget
was,
that. And then like even Tovar is good bench depth too. I like Ezekiel
yeah,
Tovar still.
you got Glaber Torres.
Glaber's in the mix. Happy to see Glaber out there. Breu's in the outfield with Cherry and Acuna. It's probably one of the better
Yeah,
outfield sets besides U.S. and DR, I would imagine.
yeah.
I mean, you have the Contreras brothers and Henio, Miguel Garcia. Yeah, this lineup really slaps, I would say. Like, it's
Yeah,
definitely a formidable bunch here.
I think like they're going to be a challenge for the Dominican Republic just for the fact that they can mash, and But you look at it's just the pitching is just where you're just like,
Yeah, if I
this is
had to pick, I'm
uh,
going with DR still, just because I still trust their pitching a
and,
little bit more. Unless if like Ranger was starting the game, but you said he's not
and
going to. I mean, the bullpen for Benny's not bad. Like I feel like Yandres Gomez is an intriguing arm still. I covered him with the Yankees a little bit, so I want to see what he has.
yeah,
Jose Budo, Mets guy, that'll be interesting to see what he could do. So I want to see like what happens with that as well. And then like Palencia is a great arm back there. And then Angels of Paris has some upside with the Royals. So I want to see what happens with that. Yeah, I
yeah.
think the best game of the group pool play is still probably DR and Venezuela, most
I
likely.
think I think one of the underrated games in the group play though is Venezuela against the Netherlands.
And Budo's with the Giants, my bad. I had a
Yeah,
feeling I had to fully confirm
yeah.
that they traded him, right? He was in that
I think
Rogers trade,
I think
yeah.
Venezuela and the Netherlands has major upset potential on it though, because the Netherlands, I believe, are going to be starting their top prospect in that game in Antoine Kelly.
Okay, I'll
And
get their roster now, actually. I talked to Kenley, too. He's really fired up to play for the Netherlands. He's very excited about it.
yeah, I think there is the pull of Andrew Jones because he didn't
Yeah.
he had not pitched in the first round ever in the tournament, and then Andrew Jones is manager, and he's just like, well, I guess I'll sign up.
Kenley loves Andrew. Absolutely adores him.
And I think almost every player in this team does because he's like, especially the players from the islands because
Yeah, I didn't know that they were in the
Andrew,
same hometown recently. That Jones and Kenley Jensen like grew up in the same area. Well, obviously Jones is older than him, but
yeah,
yeah,
but Willemstad is like every Curacao player pretty much is from Willemstad, so it's it's um, it's definitely interesting. But even the Aruban players like really look up to Andrew Jones. Like he was the first like star from the islands.
yeah.
So I think even though Henley Mullins came before him, I think everyone when they think of Curacao
You
baseball, they
know, because when I spoke to Kenley, he was like, "Oh, Andrew Jones made us believe." When we saw him hit those two homers in the World Series, like we were really excited about that. Like we were like it's something that we still look to today, like and stuff like that.
I think he just brings like a certain level of excitement around the team. Like Ozzy Albies said no to the Netherlands 2 times in a row. He wasn't saying no this time.
Yeah, especially with the Braves connection like that, wouldn't look too good.
Yeah,
So
but uh, but but
here they
but,
are.
but Antoine Kelly, I think, is gonna probably start against Venezuela rather, and he's got the stuff to like give it to the Venezuela for four
Yeah,
or five innings. Like,
he's on the roster. Yes, he's in this.
yeah,
So,
guy that
dude,
touches 102 on the
I
mound.
gotta check this guy out. I'm excited now.
He was throwing. He kind of struggled in A ball in 2024 a little bit, and he was throwing like 93, 94, and then he comes in 2025 and he's pumping 99 to 102, and he's and like nasty slider, changeup's getting better. Like he's gonna give Venezuela some problems if he throws in that game. So I think if you have him and then like someone like Kevin Kelly, who just like in the European Championship just had one of the greatest performances of all time. So I think they got some guys who can give Venezuela some issues. So I think it's by no means an automatic win for Venezuela in a game like that. And
Uh, yeah, I'm
but
tempted to pull the upset trigger, but I
but
don't know if I have it in me. Like I'm
uh,
very close to like it's gonna be a borderline one. Like Netherlands is like right there in that top two to three
yeah, yeah,
range for me. Like it's really a coin flip
I
almost.
think
But
for them, for me, I pause as I look at the offense,
yeah,
and
that's where we have the disparity. I would
I
say. Like
think
if
I
that
think it's a problem because like Sedan Rafaela is he's a great defender in center field. He is
yeah.
not a great hitter. Like
No,
that
trust
is
me. Yeah,
like
he's not. I've
well
seen enough
below
of him to
average,
know that. Yeah,
well below average with the bat. So that's kind of his big issue. Like he can run into an occasional homer here or there, but
yeah.
he doesn't have the plate discipline. And I think when you're facing fringe MLB arms, that's fine. But if you're facing a guy like Suarez, who's the front of the rotation guy, he's going to take advantage of the fact that you will chase, and he lives on the edges too. So I think that's not really a good matchup for someone like that. And then like they need Jerks and Profar to be locked in from the get go because like Bogarts has kind of declined a little bit, and
Yes, he has.
Ozzy Albies hasn't really. He's produced one good season in the last like 4 years, so I don't know how much you can really count on him in a game like this. And then you have Chadwick Tromp, who's more of a like a 4A guy,
Yeah.
and then Hendrik Clementina has a lot of power, but he had some up and down moments in Mexico recently. So I think it's offensively they're digging deep. Like Drew Jones, like no offense to him, but he can't be a starter on this team. Like
No, well, they have him on the bench now
yeah,
based on this
but
graphic. I mean, Andrew's probably going to give him some burn, maybe against like one of the worst teams to see what
yeah,
happens. But like,
they, but like Jason Crow, kind of interesting. He was an indie ball, and the Giants signed him and had a pretty good season, honestly, in Double A. So I mean, he could get some time with them. But I think it's just they're digging deep to try to find some power.
yeah,
And
like Gregorius, for instance, is a guy who's not even playing in the majors anymore. Like he's like hot and cold in this type of setting. Could he run into one or two? Maybe, but who knows? I know he's been practicing at the Yankees facility a little bit, getting ready, so that's been fun. I didn't see him unfortunately. I went there one day, but yeah, Provar is an interesting name. His brother in the infield too. Well, I know he's been like kind of good internationally, but not like really anything at the major league level. Jerickson Profar is kind of hot and cold too. We've seen how he goes. So it's definitely a lot of boomer bust in this lineup, like you were saying. I think Albies is gonna have to like really step up here, obviously, and Bogarts is gonna have to find his youth fountain a little bit.
yeah, it's gonna be a challenge for them to score runs. And I think pitching, once you get beyond Antoine Kelly, then there's some
Yeah,
concern.
Kelly's with the Pirates, right? Because I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
some mixed
He
stuff, but yeah, okay.
I think Antoine Kelly's probably gonna be in the big leagues at some point in
Well, the one thing the
2026.
Pirates can do is develop pitching. That's the one thing they're good at. So
Yeah,
you might see him next year. You're
well, they
right.
also have best hitting prospect in baseball, so I mean they're doing okay with
Yeah,
that.
maybe things are turning around for them. Actually, we'll have to see. But Kenley is definitely a cool guy to have in that bullpen. Like, obviously, the most established arm
I
out
lo-
there.
they actually have two guys from the complex league on this team,
Oh
so they're
wow.
they're thinking pretty outside the box. Like Jaituan Kelly, he's Antoine, and
Oh, that was probably a favor to him.
yeah, but I mean he throws like 98
Oh, all
in
right. Let's see it then.
yeah, so he's got some talent.
The complex lead to the WBC is like is a massive jump, though.
Yeah, it's a massive jump. Like going from facing like an 18-year-old from Dominican Republic to facing Juan Soto, like that's a pretty substantial jump.
Yeah, that's tough. We'll have to see. You got to grow up pretty quick in that setting. Yeah, I mean the
Yeah,
Netherlands will be a fun team. I think like they've obviously advanced out of the pool a couple times in their history. And it's going to be they kind of have a tough draw here with the Venezuela and Dominican Republic, obviously. But the key for them is going to be if they can upset Veni because like I can't. The Dominican Republic upset will be shocking, obviously beyond belief, just based on the
yeah.
offensive disparity between the two teams. But I feel like they should definitely beat Israel and Nicaragua though.
I think for me, I think Nicaragua's probably the most underrated team in the pool because I think they can beat the Netherlands and Israel
Interesting. Okay.
because I think they have honestly
I'll put them
really
up next then.
underrated
Let's go to
pitching.
Nicaragua. Yeah, because like I definitely don't think they're the bottom tier. Don't get me wrong.
No, no, no.
I
I
wouldn't
think
put them
Nicaragua.
fifth.
You have like Jeter Downs. I think was a big addition because like his numbers look modest in Japan, but that's because so many guys' numbers in Japan look modest because they kill offense with the baseballs being where they are.
Yeah.
But but I think he's starting at second base. I think he could be a really underrated guy. Maybe they put him in the two hole, hitting in front of Mark Vientos. Vientos is the key to that team. If they get
Yes.
2024 Vientos, that's a team that can finish third in the pool and be
Yeah, I'm
a
gonna
serious
pull. I'm
contender.
getting it right now. By the way, I see the roster. We're gonna have it. So, yeah, that'll be good to draw from. No, they have some talent. They definitely do. Like, there are some guys on this team. It's not just a team of nobodies. It's unfortunate for them. Loizaga can't be in it, although he hasn't quite been the same in a few years anyway.
Yeah,
But
I think, and they're starting Ronald Madrano against the Dominican Republic. This is kind of like a signal that they don't think they can win that game. So they're just telling him to just take one for the team in that one, basically.
Yeah, there's gonna be a few of those situations based on our discussions that we've had. It seems like.
Yeah, so and that's a good game. They're probably gonna get smoked just because I mean you're facing Christopher Sanchez and it's just an insane offense. Like so, I think
Okay,
they knew going into that they're like we ain't winning this game. Like
Okay,
it's a
yeah. So
miracle.
here's our roster. Here's the roster. Melvin Novia is the catcher because it got cut at the bottom, but he's the guy who's going to start. Ronald Rivera is going to be the backup. Vientos is the pillar at third base, obviously. Jeter Downs is second. Those are your two MLB guys. Isley Mungi as like a 4A guy, kind of. He's had
Yeah,
success in AAA, just not quite the major league level. So he's going to be big for him as well in the outfield, I would say, especially playing center.
yeah. I think you're looking at outfield of Montez in right field, Dawson in left field, and Mungia is going to be in
I think
center.
I've heard of Montez before. He's decent, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was a former minor leaguer, but he's still been always been pretty solid in their winter league. So I mean, he's
Yeah, does that make
he's
sense?
yeah, he's a solid player, really good defender. He's not going to wow you or anything, but it's pretty solid overall. I think it's just this team is just because power wise, like Chesler Cuthbert doesn't really have that power anymore, especially post Achilles injury.
Mm.
So I think for them, they need if they're going to get a guy hit out of the ballpark, it's got to be Mark Vientos.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy. Yeah, if you look at this roster, you would hope maybe Ismail could get run into one too if he get like he's done it before. Jeter Downs not really a big power hitter. Are you surprised he didn't do Colombia? Like, what made him switch to Nicaragua?
I believe if I do recall, it was a combination. I think they were having some issues getting insurance for him, and also Colombia did not say he was going to start. They said
Okay, yeah, their team's better. Obviously, that makes sense. So almost
but
like a
they
Vientos situation on a lesser
yeah,
scale, kind of.
yeah, they like with Nicaragua, he was guaranteed to get the starting second baseman. Now with Colombia, it was like, hey, we'll see what happens like through pool play, but you're more of a bench guy, and I think kind of like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's a good opportunity for him. Like, he'll get to showcase his skills and try to see if he
It
can help
was
them win a few
it was funny
games.
though because he denied. Nicaragua asked him to play, and he said no. And then when he found out he wasn't gonna start for Colombia, he's like, well, maybe let me reconsider.
Yeah, it's funny how those things work. And then the pitching staff, I've definitely seen Horacio Ramirez's name around in the winter leagues before. That's definitely looks like a familiar name to me. Carlos Rodriguez is the race, I guess. Or do you
Yeah,
agree with that listing?
yeah. I think it's Madrano's going to start against Dominican Republic, and then I would think they'll probably put Carlos Rodriguez against either Israel or the Netherlands, probably because I think they they would like to get out of the pool, but they also have to be realistic and take small steps and realize we want to make sure we're in the tournament again.
Yeah, so you gotta be Israel obviously to make sure you're in it, and like the Nicaragua, the Netherlands game is gonna be tough. So bullpen is interesting. I've seen J.C. Ramirez. I know that's a major league arm. I've definitely seen him in the majors before. And then Duque Hubret's gonna return after being signed by the Tigers at this tournament. So that's interesting too.
I think probably in the bullpen, the key guys are going to be Steven Cruz, the Brewers minor leaguer, and Royals minor leaguer Oscar Rayo. Those are the guys that they need to really get it done for them because a lot of the other guys like just don't quite have like the overall stuff
I
or the
see what you mean.
command. Yeah, like JC Ramirez he's past his prime now.
Yeah, no, I know. I said that's why I
Yeah,
said I
so
have seen him in Major League Baseball. I don't
yeah,
currently see him in Major League Baseball right now.
so I think there's probably two key guys. Kenwood Burton is had a really good start against Spain in the qualifiers, so he could be a guy that gets a look maybe against the Dominican Republic, kind of like a long relief guy. So I think for them it's a very very underrated team. Though I was a little surprised that they didn't get Melvin Hernandez for this team, who's probably like their best overall starting pitching prospect.
Yeah,
But I guess the Brewers are kind of like trying to limit his workload because he was just 19 last year when he was in pitching in Single A. So I think they're kind of managing that. But Duque Hebert is like he hasn't really had a lot of success with the Tigers. So I think he was a big story after he signed
Yeah,
up second out Soto, Julio, and Devers, but I think he's not really a guy necessarily you're going to rely on in
I
like
see what
a
you
high
mean.
leverage spot.
Yeah, because like that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Maybe he finds it again at the WBC. I guess we'll find out. So, like, what are your predictions for Pool D? Like, I'll show the DR's roster too. So I'm gonna go DR, Venezuela, Netherlands with a close
Whoa,
three.
you're picking Dominican Republic first with this roster? I still think win a game. It's yeah, I think for sure. I got Dominican Republic 1, Venezuela 2. I think Venezuela's just it's just gonna be they don't really have a pitcher in that game to face like Sandy and to try to like at least play it close early on.
Yeah, that's the issue.
So it's a I think it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be a really difficult matchup for Venezuela, but I guess you never truly know because I mean Martin Perez completely shut down the Dominican lineup last time, and I was just like, "What's going on
Oh
here?"
yeah, I know the DR kind of like didn't do well last time. Like they have to
Yeah.
rectify their last showing. That is an important
Yeah, I thought the
point.
more were going to play in the winter league, but they didn't. So I guess we'll see if they're ready to go. But yeah, so I got Venezuela 2. I got Nicaragua at 3.
Okay, I'm gonna
I
stick
got
Netherlands there.
I got the Netherlands at 4 and Israel at 5. I
Yeah,
think I
Israel
think I
five.
think
Yeah.
Israel at 5 just feels right, just because like the starting rotation not very good. Dean Kramer's their best, and then like Harrison Cohen is a
I love.
Yankees prospect is like probably one of their best pitchers, but I don't think the Yankees are going to let him start. I think it's going to probably just be like a 1 or 2 inning
You
type
know,
match.
he's a bullpen arm for the Yankees as well. He's not a starter, so they won't let him start. He's only a bullpen arm with them. He's in this bullpen. Yeah, speaking of Yankees, Tommy Kahnle, former Yankee, is a very fun add to this bullpen. He'll probably be like one of their best bullpen pitcher, honestly, depending how his form is looking as he looks to get signed by a team, I think.
Yeah,
Rob Kaminsky's a guy from my area. He used to play high school ball at St. Joe's. He hasn't made it to the majors really, or I think he may have had some brief appearances, but not much. He's not what they were hoping they would be when he was drafted, obviously. But he has played in this. This will be his second time playing, so I can't wait to see him pitch. That'll be a fun area story for me. And then, like, you look at the lineup, like, Kramer's the ace. It's not amazing, obviously. It's better than, well, nothing, though. Like, there's some teams that have worse aces, I guess. Robert Stock's a guy who's like a 4A guy trying to make it back with the Mets. He's been throwing high gas in camp, though, so they'll like to see him pitch. And then Garrett Stubbs has experience in the majors. Not much, I don't think, really. Troy Johnson is a guy in the Marlins who I actually saw hit like a game winning hit this year. Harrison Bader is big too. That's like one of their biggest additions, probably offensively, I would imagine. And then Spencer Horowitz and Matt Mervis are some guys we've both heard of, obviously.
yeah. I think Cole Carrick could be an interesting guy as prospect with the Rockies. So I think they just don't have enough pop in the
No.
lineup, and it's very lefty heavy. Who a lot of guys who don't necessarily hit lefties well. So I think it's if you like if it just feels like they'll be searching for offense a lot. I don't think it'll be as bad as last time when they were just like they had a no hitter or perfect game against thrown against them, and they were in danger of having another one thrown against them. So I think they'll be a little better than that this time, but I just don't see enough pitching to really threaten like any of the top three, really. Or but I mean they'll play close games against Nicaragua and the Netherlands, but I think for me they're the favorites to be sent to the qualifiers.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that for the most part. Like, I think they do have a better showing, but I would say, like, for this situation, that it's definitely interesting. They do look better than the last time, though. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to see them winning games just because like we think all the other teams are better. Like, could they upset Nicaragua or Netherlands? It's unlikely, but I guess baseball's weird, so like weird stuff happens sometimes. But it is cool they're putting together a team at least and competing in a tournament because they have made it a lot further than most other countries have, even like getting this far.
I think they kind of have the like kind of deal with like where Cuba would get placed in weaker pools, right? And then they could make a run based on being in the weaker pools. Like Israel made a run in 2017, but that was because like Taiwan and Korea honestly didn't have good teams. Like
Yeah.
they were kind of junk rosters. So they made a run, but it was very much based on who they were playing.
Yeah, we've seen that before in a couple situations, like you mentioned with Cuba being a prime example last year, kind of rule in 2023. I would say, but it's definitely very interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, they were 3-0 in 2017. I would not have remembered that. Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
I did not remember that at
They
all.
beat Korea in like 2-1 in like 10 innings, and then they smoked Chinese Taipei, and then they beat the
Yes,
Netherlands.
they did beat the Netherlands. I'm looking at
And
it
then,
right now.
yeah,
You
I
are
believe they beat
correct.
the Netherlands. Yeah.
They did. Yeah, I want to see what happens to the quarters. They probably got smoked. Oh no, they
Uh,
didn't get that far. It was
they
semis. It
were
was like Puerto Rico, Netherlands, and
no,
U.S. Japan.
they were at the pool. They had different format then. So they had the quarterfinals was like a group of four teams in like a
Oh
pool.
yeah, they got smoked by Japan 8-3, and then they lost. They beat Cuba 4-1, and they got smoked by the Netherlands the second time, and then
Yeah.
they got lost to Japan. Oh yeah, this is weird. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
This new ways probably makes more sense.
Yeah, I like the old way just because I want more games, but
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. That's a good point.
yeah, but it's also it's kind of one of those things of where once teams are out of it, and at the end of pool play, they're just mailing it in. Like when Venezuela was playing Puerto Rico in one of the final games of pool play in the second round in 2017, they didn't care at all when they were playing that game. They just mailed it in. So I think it's better to have games where everything once you get past the first round, where every single game is do or die, than than have teams who just have nothing to play for.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So it's definitely cool to see how they're doing it. So let's go to DR quick as we get going for a little bit. So this is all right. Let's just see. Do you think the DR can win it all? I guess that's my top question. Are they?
Absolutely.
You think they're the second behind Japan as we talked to last time? Do you think we can get U.S. and Japan and the DR in the finals, or is that route not possible based on how the bracket is? I guess that's my
If
question.
they win their pools, they cannot play in the final.
So if they both win the pool, they can't play in the final.
No,
They would meet in the semis somewhere,
they in the semifinals, which would be basically the final, honestly.
and then
So,
Japan on the other side potentially lurking in theory,
yeah, yeah, potentially.
or Venezuela maybe, or something else.
Yeah, I think the Japan Venezuela winner, honestly, the winner of that game probably would I think would go to the final. So it's kind of a weird format. I think it's a shame because the Dominicans and the U.S. for me, top to bottom, most two talented teams by far. So I think them meeting in the semifinals is kind of like but what are you gonna do? But I think that would be like I feel like it's just like they got the rotations, the offense. I think they got bullpens that can get it done. I think it feels like those two teams are on a collision course.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the good picture of to show the bracket and stuff because it is kind of confusing how once you get out of that. So I'm trying to check to get the good rundown to see how it would look if you get to the certain points. So I know I know it's a lot of stuff is predicated on the top and second finishes in the pool. Obviously, okay, I got it finally. At least semi. This is you can tell me if I'm correct. So we'll run through this now. It's not the cleanest picture, but it'll work. So um, I mean, the DR team is loaded. We've talked about this at length. This roster is beyond impressive. Their bench players would start on most teams, and be better than most starters probably. I have no idea why Ahmed Rosario's on this team. Though, what is Rosario going to do for this team that they don't already have? I have no idea. Carlos Santana is just the veteran now because he probably won't play again. I understand that one, but I have no clue why Rosario's on this team.
I think it's mostly just because he can play multiple positions, and he's not really a guy that they necessarily need to get at bats. Where
That's true. Yeah,
I think they had a problem in 2023 where they had a bunch of guys who could start and they all wanted to start, and then they complained that they were out of rhythm because they weren't getting enough at bats. And then
yeah.
so I think like it's a little like the U.S. You
I
know,
see what you mean. Yeah, like Goldschmidt's another guy. Like doesn't really need to play. Like if he's there, like if you need him for an emergency or like leadership, I guess.
yeah. It's just if you have a guy who can play a few positions and it doesn't need to play a lot, you kind of want those guys like Ernie Clement for the U.S. too. Like he's
That's
not going to
another
start
guy. Yeah.
games, but this DR team's like crazy loaded. Like
If there's one area I think they're vulnerable in besides the rotation, that bullpen looks a little bit spotty to me. There's definitely
yeah,
some
yeah,
guys that are hot and
yeah.
cold in that bullpen.
I think
Estevez is not throwing the ball well right now either. I question if he's even going to be able to go because he's only hitting like 90 miles an hour right now.
I think a Royals reporter said he did the same thing last year too. But that for whatever reason he takes a while to warm up. But I'm like, can you really count on that? Like once the WBC starts, like if
Yeah, I
he's
don't
not,
know. I'm not sure. I mean, the two Abreu's very volatile. I know that better than anybody. That guy's either the best thing ever or he's horrible. And there's no in between.
I think that's the same thing with Doval with Doval, right? Like
Doval as
yeah,
well, yeah.
right. He's
Except I
like if
trust him more, but like, yeah.
he's locked in. He's just like, damn, how does anyone hit this guy? And then he comes out the next outing and he walks three guys and hits
Yeah.
another guy, and you're just like, okay.
Brazoban and Dennis Santana also similar in that ilk. Gregory Soto, like a lot of boom or bust in this
Yeah,
bullpen.
that's why
Yeah.
my big concern with the Dominican Republic is if they get into a very tight game at the end of the game and with these volatile relievers, like can you trust that they can hold a 1 or 2 run lead, or are they going to just fully implode?
Or you're gonna have to bridge like Bayo or Sevi somewhere, like depending on rest or something, to try to like bridge the gap if you need to. Like I don't know if they would let
Yeah,
them do that, but
yeah. I think it's gonna be a lot dicier than I think some people think because I know some people like really like this bullpen. I'm like, yeah, when they're on,
I don't. I'm not actually upon further review. I like it a lot less than I thought I did.
I think
Like, what is Wandy Peralta at this point? Like, I have questions about him now. Like, he's kind of getting up there. Like, he was really good with the Yankees, not as good with the Padres. I think the
yeah,
best guy in this bullpen is actually Uribe, honestly. That's the
yeah.
one
I
guy who
think
I feel good
Uribe
about.
is the guy that I would have as the closer.
100%. I would definitely close the game with him. Like, there's no questions asked.
I think the most important thing in the WBC is like I know you have like the U.S. did this a little bit with like big on stuff guys and big on guys who are like analytical darlings, but it in these settings they're not series, they're one game. You need guys who have who are more level, more more consistent guys that are
Yeah.
a lot of high highs and low lows are guys in the pressure of these environments, they crumble. Look at Alexis Diaz in 2023. Like when he was good, he was good, but when he was bad, he was unplayable. Like
Yeah, that's another volatile guy, and he is with Puerto Rico in the reserve role as well. So we'll see if he gets used.
I think so. I definitely I have quite a few concerns because I know like Sir Anthony Dominguez, he had good moments with Toronto.
He's
Then he
another
had
guy. Yeah,
he
he
had
fits in what we're saying.
and then the ALCS he gave up like essentially a game winning grand slam to Suarez. So it's like they have a lot of talent, but can they harness that in a high pressure environment? Because
Yeah.
this isn't like the regular season. This is like could you trust these guys in a playoff game, like in game 7 of a playoff series?
Yeah, it's basically a playoff game because I talked to Tarek about it, Tarek Schoolboy, and he was like, I asked that question. I'm like, how do you think it's going to be compared to a playoff game? And he's never done it before, so I wanted to see what he thought. He was like, I've heard it's very similar, and I'm really excited for it. And it sucks he can only pitch one game, but I completely understand it with the
Yeah,
contracts and everything. And it kind of, I would like to see it against Italy or Mexico probably, but it looks like it's going to be Great Britain.
yeah. I think for me the thing that I didn't get about Tarek Skubal is if you're if an arm injury is something you're a little concerned about, wouldn't you come later in the tournament?
Yeah, I think it's because like he talks about this a lot. Like I'll tell you my best situation for why I think it went that way. Oh no, Jeff's frozen. Are you there, Jeff? Uh oh. Okay, I think you're coming back now.
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you?
yeah. I was saying,
Okay, so I'll
I was,
tell you why I think it went that way because he was very deliberate about it. He was very strategic about how he spoke about it. I think it's just like the way his pitching schedule lines up, like with his days of rest. He just didn't want to disrupt his rhythm in spring training, basically. So I don't know if another day lines up properly for him. Like I'd have to look into that more. Like when is the U.S. supposed to play Great Britain? I guess maybe you could help me with
it's the
this.
7th. They're playing Great Britain on the 7th.
So yeah, I mean, let me look at the schedule. So if in theory he could have pitched like
He could have pitched in the semifinal
yeah,
on regular rest.
he probably just didn't want to do it twice. I guess was his moral of his story. I think he just wanted
Yeah,
to do it once.
I think it just to me it's just like it doesn't hold up just with logic because you would rather have
Have him
that
pitch in the
build,
semis. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
and then for him, wouldn't you rather have that build up that where you're getting closer and closer to feeling like
Yeah, he
you're
said he
ready?
didn't want to accelerate the bills up, so maybe he felt like the semis would have accelerated too much. Like I don't know,
I,
I'm
I,
not, I'm not really sure. Like maybe he
I feel
just
like
think.
this is like Scott Boras talk, and he's trying to spin it to
Yeah,
like
I know. Tarek like really he's like very into the US thing. Like he's really about it. Like he spoke about it a lot. Like he was watching the USA hockey team like finish
yeah.
to finish basically. Like I saw him glued in the first period. And like he's like I got back in my bullpen and I saw them score and we were going nuts. Like I was like you can tell he really wants to do it. I think if it wasn't the contract here, he probably would have ended up pitching 2 games most likely. It's probably the
Yeah,
moral of the story I would
I
give.
think I don't personally blame a player for that decision because there's so much that goes into it, and there's it's always a situation where he's going to get the biggest contract ever for a pitcher.
Yeah, until
But
Skeens.
yeah,
Yeah, but he will for now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. For now, he'll get it. But my
Yeah, he
thing
will.
is, I don't blame him for his decision to only want to throw one game, but it's just why would you throw in one of the least consequential games?
Yeah, it would have
Like
been cool if he did the semis or something. And they
yeah,
said, but I think they said that Logan Webb and Skeens are gonna pitch twice, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
Logan
how they're
Webb and
gonna do it,
Skeens, like
basically.
I think if they went up to Paul Skeens, he's like, hey, so what do you think about just throwing once? He would have just looked at you like, what? It's
I
like,
think the
no, no.
way it's lines up now, Skeens could be semis and Webb would be finals. Maybe is that how they would do it?
I think it's flipped. I think
Skeens
they
will
want.
be final and Webb will be
I
semis.
think yeah, but I think it depends. If they get Dominican Republic, they could flip it because I think they would schedule wise be able to kind of do either or
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, but I think Skeens is supposed to go. I want to say either the 8th or 9th. So I think he's playing. So I think for him, it's probably the final is where they want him, and
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
he wants it. I think he wants the ball in the final. But I mean, can you pass up a chance to face Dominican Republic?
Probably not. I think he'd probably take that too, to be honest. And
Like,
Joe Ryan's also banged up. Is he still gonna play? Like, is that a
he
situation we
talked
gotta
about it
watch?
yesterday. He said he's not declining yet.
Okay.
So he said it's fluid. So I'm
Okay.
probably no, but I think it's for him. I think it's because he hasn't been able to pitch in games.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
that's part
problem,
of it.
I would say. I mean, they still have Clay Holmes, Noah McLean, and Matt Boyd as backup if KC
Yeah, yeah.
can't do it,
I
so
think
they'll
they're
they'll be
fine
covered.
without him. I think it's just if you can just get through the quarterfinal, and I think they'll have a quarterfinal matchup that's probably pretty favorable, honestly.
Yes, well, here we go. I finally have our little rundown. So let's say they win Pool B, which is possible. They would play either Puerto Rico, Canada, or Colombia, most likely, as if we assume those are the top three that get out of Puerto Rico. I'm still gonna stick with PR in Canada. I don't feel amazing about it, but I'll stick with them. And then for Pool B, I'm gonna do USA and Mexico get out. Pool C, I'm gonna do Japan and Korea begrudgingly, but I'll still hold on to it. And then Pool D, I'm doing DR and Venezuela.
Okay, I mean, I think you know those are all defensible.
Yeah, so I think you agree with most of them, except you're switching C. You're gonna do Taipei instead of Korea, I
Yeah,
think,
I still like.
and Colombia maybe instead of
I
Canada
think
or something.
I think I think Colombia is starting their best two pitchers against Puerto Rico and Canada. So I think that's who they think. are the best two teams that they
Yeah.
have
So do you
competing.
think Colombia makes it out?
Um, I think it's I do think Colombia is going to survive. I think I do think we're going to get a three-way tie between Puerto Rico, Colombia, and Canada.
Wow. So you think they all lose one game,
Yeah, I think
basically?
they're
You
all
think
going to
they
beat
all
each
go
other.
3-1?
Yeah, I think they're all going to beat each other.
Wow.
And I think Colombia is actually one of the schedule favors them the most.
I think I
Because
noticed that.
because they get Jose Quintana against Puerto Rico. Seth Lugo was not very good in 2025. So if he's at that level again, he's vulnerable. And they get their best pitcher in that environment. Puerto Rico isn't going to use, honestly, the most talented pitcher until later in the pool. So I think Colombia, they get to use Tehran against Canada. And then Luis Patino, who's their third pitcher, is likely going to go against potentially Cuba or Panama. So I think the schedule is benefiting them. They don't have to face a lot of aces. They get to
Okay,
face,
I got you. So you're
they
going
get
to
to
go with
face
them. I'll
yeah,
begrudgingly hold on to my picks, but be very worried about Colombia, obviously.
yeah. I think
Um,
Panama's an interesting team too. If Panama got out of the pool, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like they're right there, but I think like Herrera's injury or I guess insurance denial that was a big loss.
yeah, I know we talked about that. He's like a big bad for them. So let's say it goes that way. So USA would potentially play, let's say Puerto Rico for argument's sake. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a huge advantage for US, or like Canada or Colombia, whichever team it is a huge
yeah.
advantage for the US.
I think there's no team they're going to face in the quarterfinals that can match up with them offensively or pitching wise. It's
No,
just
I don't
yeah,
think so. So we could safely put them in the semis most likely, and that's when things might get interesting.
yeah.
So,
I think
w-
honestly, if them and Dominican Republic play in the semifinals, it would be I think without question the most anticipated semifinal game ever in the WBC.
yeah, I
It's in
agree with you.
Miami. If there's even a seat available in Miami, I'd be shocked. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna be nuts, bro. So like that. So then you go up the pool a little bit more on the other side. So it would be the Pool Z runner up, and the Pool C winner is who the U.S. would potentially face,
they
according to
would.
this. But I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe this is off base. I don't know. You tell
if
me.
in the championship game they would play um, the pool. Basically, let's see. You have Pool C winner plays the runner up in D, and then the winner of that game will play the will either play the pool A winner or the Pool A will play second team in B, right? So the winner of that game will play the winner of the Pool C runner up in D. It's kind of
Oh,
complicated when you have a
yeah, no, this the way I have it isn't correct, and I guess so. Like,
so,
let's say
let's say Canada wins Pool A, right?
yes. Let's
And
for argument's sake, yeah.
they beat Mexico or either or. The winner of that game would play likely either Japan or Venezuela.
Okay, so we're going to assume Japan. Now I see why we're saying Japan and Venezuela is going to end up going to the finals most
Yeah,
likely.
yeah.
I
So
understand the
that's
path
it.
here.
For either of those teams, they're significant
And then
favorites.
if we go to the other area with the Pool C runner up and the Pool D winner, that would put like Dominican Republic against like Korea or Chinese Taipei, who they would
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
slaughter most likely. So it does
So
seem like the path is set for like that USA, Dominican Republic, and then like that Japan Venezuela thing. Like we
yeah.
could comfortably say that sort of. So I'll say like it's gonna be U.S. and Venezuela for some fun. Let's say Japan gets upset because I'm sick of seeing them in the finals. So we'll say USA Venezuela made the finals and USA wins it. That'll be my prediction.
Okay, yeah. I think the Dominican Republic U.S. game. I'm just like I feel like the U.S. is the favorite just because like Christopher Sanchez is a great pitcher. He's not as good as Paul Skeens.
No,
So I think if you're looking at even Logan Webb, you could probably say Logan Webb and Christopher Sanchez are pretty close.
they're close. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
agree
I
with you.
think
And the U.S. can make up the difference in the bullpen, even if they weren't
yeah,
that. Even if they
yeah.
weren't.
And then I also think you look at the U.S. lineup. What makes it so dangerous? You don't have a single hitter you can pitch around, or that you can just get. Should say an easy out. Like
No.
if like they're gonna probably put Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh back to back. If you got two guys hitting back to back who hit 60 home runs, so I think it's just like, and then you got Kyle Schwarber who just hit, who made a run at 60 himself last year. So I mean, you just have so much power and so many guys that like if you make a mistake too, it's going 450 feet. So it's like it's and that's where like Dominican Republic, like with all due respect to their catchers, they have a weak link in their lineup that against high level pitching, they're going to be able to take advantage of guys like that.
Yeah, because like it's such a big drop off. And obviously, like I've said, Wells and Ramirez are cool, but like it's Cal Raleigh. Like that's such a big gap. Like that's such a massive gap. Like even any other catcher is like a big gap with him in most
Yeah,
situations. Like, and those guys still need to prove a lot in the league when they haven't been that established. So like, I definitely agree with you. I think the U.S. has advantages in the bullpen and the lineup.
you could say that the best three players are going to be on the U.S. team.
Maybe even four if you count Tarek, but he's not going to be in the elimination
Yeah,
round.
yeah.
So if you
Well,
want
I'm
to go
saying,
Skeens, Cal, and
well,
Judge
I'm
as your
saying,
top three, then yeah.
Cal, Judge, Bobby Witt, I would say are probably the three best players, just because Bobby Witt he had one of the best shortstop seasons of all time in 2024.
Yeah, he had a 10 WAR season, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. So when he's at his best, I think he's better than any player on the Dominican team. But that's not a knock on them. That's just more of
Yeah, no, I agree
a
with you. That's
praise
a
for
fair
Bobby Witt.
statement. And I would say Skeens is probably the best pitcher in the tournament,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
likely.
So
They
I
probably have the best bullpen arm, too, in Mason Miller,
Yeah,
most
I would
likely.
agree with that. So I think it's just Dominican Republic, great team. I think the U.S. just has a little more high end talent, and I think that's the difference in a game like that. And they have more guys where you kind of know what you're gonna get. Like
Yeah, I agree
like
with you.
I think in the like Severino and Bayo and even Alcantara a little bit, you
What?
don't really
Fringy, yeah.
you don't really know what you're gonna get, and like Bayo's not throwing the ball well at all in spring training right now, so he's kind of a wild card. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a I think the U.S. is just get a little more known commodities, a little more high end talent, but it's a very close game. I mean, it's gonna be a game where it's like 4-2, 4-3 type deal, but I think it's good. I think the U.S. prevails, and then I think they get Venezuela, and personally, if they go with like Webb in the semis, I would love to see like a Paul Skeens like Jesus Lazardo matchup in the final. That'd be fun as hell.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Jeff. It's been fun. So, like, do you have U.S. Japan in the finals? Is that
I
your
have
pick?
U.S. Venezuela in the
Oh, so
final.
you agree with me. So we're both
Yeah,
going USA Venezuela, and we're gonna have
and
USA raise the banner.
I think Aaron Judge is going to take home the MVP.
That would be fun.
I think this is where he finally puts to bed all this like choker propaganda stuff that gets put out.
Yeah, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Why can't you do it in the real World Series
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that
yeah.
happens?" That's
I
gonna
think
be the
it's the
final layer
Yankees.
to it. But
I think I would just love to see like Aaron Judge hits like the go ahead home run in the eighth inning, and to like and that's like basically the winner. Like I feel like at that point, like if you're calling him unclutch, I feel like you're just making stuff up in your head at that point.
yeah, he also had a great postseason last year. Unfortunately, went under the rug because the Yankees were awful. But he was actually great last October. So I mean, you just
Yeah,
have to hope it would be a great banner year for him to get the WBC MVP, finally win a World Series, get the three-peat MVP. Imagine he gets like WBC MVP, three-peats MVP, and then gets the World
yeah.
Series MVP. Then what are you gonna say after
And
that?
yeah, then they're just like, and then all the internet trolls are like, we got to come up with something here. Like we got, like it's like, but I think it is kind of sad that like one of the greatest hitters of all time doesn't get celebrated because he plays for the Yankees.
Yeah, he still does, but it's not like at the level you would like it
Yeah,
to be because the Yankee fans are ungrateful. So, like, yeah,
yeah,
you know how
it's
it is. And they haven't won in 16 plus years, so everyone's getting aggy
right.
and cranky.
Right,
But,
a
like,
guy making a bid for like a 1200 OPS like season, like damn near every year, and
real fans
like,
understand, like, how great he is. So, yes.
like
So, I would
how
say, like,
Cal Raleigh had a love fest. He didn't even have an 1,000 OPS last season. Like, and he had 60
yeah,
bombs. Like, if he had a 1,200 OPS and he hit 60 plus bombs, like people would be like, okay, when's the statue going up?
yeah, that's crazy, bro. Like, Judge just has to get that ring and then everything will be cemented. But either way, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer as soon as he steps off the field, so it doesn't even matter. I think it's incredible to see. If he can somehow get that trifecta, that would be a crazy year for
Yeah,
him.
the Yankees better get at when the trade deadline hits. They better make some moves because honestly, I feel like this roster is just kind of like,
Me too. I agree with you. I've been vocal about it. I'd like to see some more help for him too in certain areas, but maybe I
but
think they still are one of the better teams in the American American League, but like they're leaving too much to chance again. Like they're relying on too many repeat performances. Like they're just hoping things are like the same because they ran back most of the team. But like the
Yeah,
league doesn't work that way. Things change, and like they do have a couple things that might change, but like I don't think it's enough either
I
personally.
hate to give the Yankees any credit, but I gotta say they're probably one of the best teams to develop in minor league talent, though.
Their pitching talent, the offensive talent's been lacking down there, but their pitching arms are very
Well, I
good.
mean,
Like
you have
the
someone like Ben Rice has been a pretty big success story.
Yeah,
Considering he
yeah,
was
you're
kind of
right.
like
They
a
have some
contributor.
hitting. You're right. It's just
Yeah,
not
yeah.
well balanced right now.
But
It's
the
way more
pitching
towards
is definitely the
pitching.
best. Like I'm really excited to see Elmer Rodriguez up in the big league team. I'm thinking probably July, August, maybe might see him up.
Maybe
Like,
sooner, depending on rotational needs and depth. Because like I feel like he's pretty close to ready. I feel like he's probably close to a finished product. Because like none of his pitchers are like wipeout, but he executes them all well. Like he has
yeah,
good conviction and command with them. Like
I
he doesn't have like that put away maybe, but he has like a bunch that he throws pretty well.
yeah, and I think the Yankees are they seemingly are pretty good at developing secondary pitches
Yeah,
on
they
what,
just have to help him refine some secondaries probably because he's not going to be like 100 miles an hour probably, but like you got to refine a few secondaries. Like he has some good ones. Like Legrande's the guy that really excites me because that guy jumps off the page at you.
yeah,
Like
he touches like 101, 102, doesn't he? Like
yeah, he's hit 103 before. Like
yeah,
he's that's the guy that really excites me. But like this has been fun, Jeff.
it's
I appreciate it.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Is Carlos is he like Dominican
Yeah,
American?
Legrande's Dominican. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm thinking, man, that guy might be in the Dominican rotation the next WBC.
I was gonna say, I bet they would have considered it in this one even, but like the Yankees probably wouldn't let him do it because like they're trying to be careful with him. Although they've let Elmer do it, so maybe. But like, I don't know. They should have thought about it because I bet you he's better than some of those bowling arms that we were talking
Right?
about. But he's
Like,
also very volatile too with his command and control, so he could be just like those guys, like either real. But he's better. He has better stuff than like
I think,
all those guys we talked about
right?
probably.
I think though the Yankees they wanted the guys that start in the minors they wanted them to start in the WBC too.
Yeah, that's the thing. They probably couldn't give LeGrand a guaranteed starting rotation spot. Next time, I definitely want to see if he does it though. That would be crazy if he does it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But
That
you
would
know
be
what?
sick.
All right, this is fun.
Yeah, I'll probably try to put it out tomorrow. But Jeff, good talking, and we'll see how this goes. I want to see how close we get with these predictions. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I expect to be 100% right. I've never been wrong before, so
Yeah, I wish I could say the same. Like, I get stuff wrong all the time, but I try to
I
be
think
as correct
Friday's
as
gonna be fun
possible.
though. Friday's gonna be really fun because the Colombia Puerto Rico game, like that game, is gonna determine basically the entire pool.
Yeah,
Because
no, I can't wait to go. It's gonna be sick. I can't believe I'm actually going. It's gonna be insane. So we'll see what happens out there. I'll keep you posted.
all right,
But
sounds
all
good.
right, Jeff.